Hatem Dhiab, Managing Partner, Gerber, Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management, and John Freeman, co-founder, Senior Analyst at Ravenswood Partners. Thank you both for being with us. I haven't seen you both in some time. Hatem Dhiab, I'll start with you. We look at the Mag 7. People love to love the group. Do you love the group, or do you sit there and pick and choose now?
Hey, Nicole, it's good to be on. It's hard not to love the group. I think the group can be changed a little bit. I think right now, obviously, valuations are very stretched, but I think you have to look at which companies are still growing, which ones have the ability to keep increasing margins and really kind of increasing their top line. And not all of the companies at the top and the Max 7 are able to do that. I mean, Tesla being one that's really not growing, and that's really one company that we're worried about. But for example, Microsoft or Google, in addition to NVIDIA.
We'll go through those names. Thank you for the big picture on that. So Tesla less so, Microsoft and Google more so. What do you think, John? I mean, is it really evident to you that there should be a real disparity in these names, or Mag 7's Mag 7?
Right. So the way we look at it, so we look at the winners from generative AI within the Mag 7. And so in client portfolios, we own NVIDIA, of course, probably the biggest beneficiary and purest beneficiary right now that we can see of generative AI, as well as Amazon and Microsoft. And the interesting one is Google, is kind of or Alphabet, right? Because if they get this right, if they can get people to use, if Gemini can really, gain traction, well, maybe they can offset and transition themselves to a generative AI world. But the downside risk for their core search business is so fundamental, and I think if it turns negative, even if it, if it's a blip or an initial impact, right? It's gonna scare people away from that stock. So anyway, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
All right, yeah, I want to go through your favorite names and where you think the names could be headed. Hatem Dhiab, I mean, you've been cautious on Tesla for some time. It has managed to run up and have an incredible 6 months, up 56%, 1 year up 70%. But would you sell now today on Tesla? Just a quick thought on Tesla, because I do want to get to the names that you like more.
Yeah, I think Tesla have a lot of issues. Like this quarter's delivery number was really good because there was a lot of pull forward demand because of the credits were expiring. But if you look at earnings coming up, they're going to lose ZEV credits, which is the regulatory credits. They're basically the $2 billion worth this year, which is all profits for Tesla. And I think demand will also be challenged. We already saw some negative numbers out of China, but also will be challenged going forward because that 7,500 tax credit is gone now. So I think that's really the problem, and I really want to believe long term in the Optimus story and the robotaxi story, but that's 2-3 years out down the road. So that's why I'm cautious about Tesla. If I could say something about Google, I think actually Google is actually the one that can benefit the most from generative AI because of how much users they have on their platforms. And because Gemini is so good, actually, they can start monetizing that on YouTube and even on search very, very, very fast. I think the challenge with Google at the beginning is people were thinking, oh, this is going to cannibalize their business, but this hasn't happened. So I'm actually very bullish on Google going forward, too.
Yeah, what do you think, John?
So the one that we think is probably the best positioned here in kind of what I call the Moore's Law complex is TSMC, which is over $1 trillion. It's not a U.S. company, but it's the one I think of as when I think of Mag 8, because it is one of our larger weights. Because of not only expanding growth, but they're going to be able to take a larger portion of the fat gross margins that NVIDIA is also generating in the GPU business. So that's the general, and at 21 times, it's not particularly expensive.
Yeah, and Hatem, you were talking about Broadcom too, right?
Yeah, there is listen, I think the infrastructure build is real, and there is a lot of hyperscaler. They're trying to make their own chips, or at least chips that are specific to certain tasks. And Broadcom has actually made some really move in the custom ASICs. So I think it's also not as expensive, or at least not expensive as it used to be. Based on the growth that they expect, or at least the projection that they have. So I think it's, if you want to look at the infrastructure and the build up, Broadcom could be another name to add.
I mean, Microsoft's at 515 today. The high was 555. Hatem, do you think Microsoft goes back to the 555 mark at some point?
I mean, Microsoft has a massive flywheel in the generative AI and just AI in general, because they have cloud, they have software, they have enterprise, they have consumer. I don't even think of it as one company. It's just the diversified fund, basically, of various businesses that are growing quite a bit. I think you kind of have to own that.
John, are you an NVIDIA fan?
Absolutely. So it is definitely the purest beneficiary. And the one of the things that I've really come to deeply appreciate is the strength of the CUDA development platform, and the fact that they have almost 5 million developers. This is low level code. This is not like, this is pretty hardcore stuff. So that to have that many hardcore programmers is a pretty tough and all of the attached ecosystem is very tough for them to replicate, for that to be replicated, which strengthens I just see NVIDIA's strategic position here strengthening, not weakening.
Yeah, it's great to see you both, John Freeman and Hatem Dhiab. Thank you. Great conversation. Really appreciate it.